right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Mustafa Tamiz. I have the privilege of being the chair for the Transportation Advocacy Group of Houston. Thank you all for being here. You know, TAG is a community, and it's like being at a class reunion. You walk in and you see all your friends. You see people that you haven't seen for a long time, and then you're with people that you work with every single day. And it's our privilege to convene you, to bring you together. I want to, we went through, we recognized, our elected officials, our agency heads. I think Teresa Morales, Jim Robinson on the Metro board. We wanted to make sure that people know that Metro is moving fast, and it is doing so with some great leadership. Marvelette Hunter just joined us, Mayor's Chief of Staff. Thank you so much for being here. So all of you, this is this is called the Transportation Week. And as I got involved with TAG years ago, I used to wonder, what's this Transportation Week? And really started to make sense to me, Commissioner Ellis, when the president announced that this is the transportation decade. This is a decade where America really begins to rebuild. And more importantly, right here in Houston, right here in the region, right here in our state, the funding is coming. And we all have to work together and to make sure that there's consensus across the region. And so I'm glad to hear Chuck Wimple here from HCAC. I'm glad to see our commissioners here. I saw our friend, Commissioner Garcia, who looks great. He was going to bike here. But we're glad last time he biked to our event. This time he's driven here, so it's wonderful to have him here, and so wonderful to have all of you. My job today is simple: is to bring up Mayor Turner for the state of mobility. We've been doing this for many years now, and he's been gracious to do this for us. But I was at an event with him this weekend, and it was a community event. And when he came. He spoke from his heart, as he always does, and revealed something about his family, revealed something about how he's grown up. And many of you have heard him do that. And I have to tell you, in today's time, more and more we need leaders that lead from the heart, but govern with some smarts. And Mayor Turner has demonstrated that of his tenure in Houston. He has reached across the aisle to pull people in. He is a veteran of Austin, and he's kind of bent Austin sometimes to our way and negotiated on behalf of our city, of our county, and our region. It's important to have leadership that will go to Washington and advocate for us. It's important for us to understand the state and advocate for us. And many of you that are here, our department directors, our toll authority, our TxDOT, our Metro, all of you, when you come together and you coordinate with each other, you pull people in, that's when things get done. And so I am extremely honored and proud to have Mayor Turner here. He's going to give the state of mobility this year. And please welcome our mayor, the mayor of Houston, the mayor of the fourth largest city, the largest city in Texas, the Honorable Sylvester Turner.
Look, let me start off by thanking Mustafa, and he and I have known each other a long time. Certainly appreciate his leadership on multiple fronts. So thank you for the gracious introduction. Let me say hello to everybody. I know I've got a number of council members who are here. I see Councilmember Huffman, who is here, Councilmember David Robinson, who heads now TPC. Do I have any other council members who are? Councilmember Sally Alcorn, Councilmember Peck, and the cowboy hat, Councilmember Mike Knox, and then I know I just left a couple of other council members at a funeral where we were just before this event. That's one of the reasons why I'm late today. And then certainly to all of the county commissioners. I know County Commissioner Rodney Ellis was with me at the funeral. He's right in front. Councilmember Cagle, Commissioner Cagle, and he and I have been together at 70 events just the other morning. So to all of any other commissioners, Commissioner Garcia, Adrian Garcia is present. Thank you so very, very much. And then, I have a number of directors who are here, and I know I see Andy Icken, Chief Economic Development Officer, the Chief of Staff, Marmalette Hanna, Deputy Chief of Staff, Walter Hambrick, and then Carol Haddock, the Director of Public Works is present, and who am I missing? Oh, Priya Zachariah, who is over the Mayor's Office of Resilience, Sustainability, Margaret Wallace-Brown, who is over Planning, and then David Fields, who is over Transportation. Did I get everybody? All right, if I did get you. And then, of course, let me thank all of our partners, Sanjay Ram, the chairman of Metro, really appreciate his leadership and his work. Tom Lambert, who has been with Metro, the head of Metro, but has been with Metro for 40 years. We had an event on last week. So Tom Lambert, let me acknowledge you, Elisha Paul with TxDOT, all of our partners, and if I failed to name you, when I started down this road, I knew it was the wrong way to go. So. My apology. Let me ask you, I know the lunch was real good. Just as, it looked good, it smelled good. And just when I was cutting into, I told the waiter, a little bit extra dressing, and then I started cutting, and was just doing like this, and Mustafa said, let me introduce the mayor. So, but, that's why I keep some crackers in the truck. Look, it's an honor to be with you this afternoon. 7 years ago, 6.5, 7 years ago, when I came in, the very first State of Mobility speech I gave, I talked about a paradigm shift. Almost 7 years ago. And 1 year ago, I stood before you all and declared Houston to be the destination city, a place where people want to live, do business, visit, and see what we are all about, a place for people to walk down the streets, look each other in the eyes, and build a community. And how do we know that our city is a destination city? We know because over the last 10 years, Houston's population grew by 10%. That means 200,000 more people wanted to be in the city. We know because passengers arriving at Bush Intercontinental Airport grew by 14% over the 10 years prior to the pandemic. And the world recognizes that we are treating our arrivals right. As Hobby Airport became the first airport on the North American continent to earn a 5-star international rating as a world-class safe destination experience for every passenger, one of 16 airports in the world. And I know Saba is here with the airport, Mario Diaz, and I want to thank their entire team for that accomplishment. And things are still happening. I mean, we just looked at, for example, the CIP for the airport a year ago. We had cut that almost in half, down to about $1.3 billion. But based on what we've seen, the growth that is taking place, we have now upped that CIP for the next 5 years to about $2.6 billion. We know we are a destination because the Port of Houston ranks first in total tonnage of all ports of the United States. And they are working to accommodate more capacity by widening the ship channel within 5 years with their Project 11. People are flocking here. Goods are being shipped here. And Houston is not only a destination, but it is the destination city. And now that people are here, we need to invest more in how people move around that is not just focused on vehicles. The airports are getting them here, planes and everything else, cars and trucks getting them here. The question now becomes, once they are here, how do we get them from point A to point B? Houston is the 4th most populous city in the United States. And there's a good chance we'll be 3rd. Out of all of the cities in the last 10 years, the top 4 that have grown In the last 10 years, New York, LA, Chicago, Houston. Only the city of Houston, and that's type 4, has grown over the last 10 years. The mobility system that brought those people to our city served us well, but transporting people to their destination is a means to an end. The end we are concerned with, the goal we are trying to reach, is a different type of mobility. People move to Houston not just for point-to-point mobility. They move to Houston for upward economic mobility. People don't drive or ride transit just for the fun of it, or driving or riding transit. At least I don't think they're riding or driving just for the fun of it. And so we have to invest in our transportation system, not to move people just around, but to move people to a better life. People drive or ride transit to get to their jobs, to go to school, to get to their doctors. People may want and bike for their health, but they also want their children, walk their children to the park. They're also biking more and more on a daily basis, and certainly even during COVID. There were people who didn't bike and they pulled out their bike. Maybe they saw Commissioner Ellis with his what you call them, little tight pants, and they thought that was the cool thing to do. God help us on that when we seen him. and even the mayor went out and got his bike and started riding around. But more and more people, So they're biking more. And when everyone has access to a complete transportation system that helps move people to work and to one destination to the other, it works. To learn and to play, then we're on the path to a better life. But I want to underscore a complete transportation system, not where it's just one or two items, but a complete network. The city of Houston sets everyone on that path by first making it safe for all, not only in certain neighborhoods and not only for certain trips. Instead, we prioritize safety for everyone using every mode of transportation that we offer. Our Vision Zero program has a very simple goal: to eliminate fatalities and serious injuries on our roads by 2030. 2021 was not a good year for our roads. More people died on our roads last year than ever before. It mirrored a nationwide trend during COVID, a trend that we in Houston, we must stop. And to stop that trend, we built nearly 30 miles of sidewalks, installed over 800 curb ramps, and retimed over 800 traffic signals last year alone. As part of these investments, the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities and Houston Public Works coordinated to construct 110 sidewalk segments specifically for pedestrian access for people with disabilities. We partnered with the Harris County Health Department and received funding from MD Anderson to start the city's first Safe Routes to School program in Acres Home. We continued our quick planning program to engage with the community and build safety improvements faster than ever before. With efforts this year in Briar Meadow with Councilmember Tiffany Thomas and in Settegast with Councilmember Tasha Jackson, we received $4 million from the Texas Department of Transportation for safety projects all around the city. And we applied to the United States Department of Transportation for a $20 million raised grant to create a new telephone road that is safer for our travelers, prioritize walking, biking, and transit, upgrades our traffic signals, and improve drainage all along the corridor. To keep our safety efforts going, I am personally reviewing the details of the 11th Street project right now. To recognize all this work, Houston received the American Planning Association Texas Chapter 2021 Implementation Award. Safer is the start, But our transportation system to provide economic mobility, we must have a full network so people can travel by all different modes. Let me put these glasses on, not because I need them, but for those who taking pictures and make me appear a little bit more intelligent. If access to education is the path to economic mobility, we cannot require students to own a car to get to and from school. We must provide a transit system that's reliable, attractive, and usable every single day. That's why Metro's University Corridor bus rapid transit line is so important. And I appreciate people. Terry Morales is on Metro board and others for working very diligent on this. At 25 miles long, the University Corridor BRT will connect our neighborhoods to our universities from Gulfton, Montrose, Midtown, Greater Fifth Ward, Kashmere Gardens, Denver Harbor, and more to University of Houston, Texas Southern University, and University of St. Thomas. And Sanjay, I applaud you, Les Frieden, and the entire Metro board for moving forward on these initiatives. All communities deserve access to these great schools. The proximity to world-class higher education is a major selling point for young adults living in our city. Commuting should not be a burden, and sitting in traffic should not be a barrier to pursuing a quality education. And that's why we're working with Metro to design the University Corridor BRT to operate in a dedicated transit-only lane, making sure the bus runs often and on time. We're also working with Metro to pair high-capacity transit with housing, schools, and jobs. You can call it transit-oriented development, or you can call it joint development. Don't care what you call it. But the reality is, as we move forward to the future, we have to design a far different city. We call it smart planning because land use and transportation must always work together. And while the University Corridor will be an outward-facing and transformational project, we're also working on more subtle ways to improve transit. Houston Public Works and Metro are employing small tweaks that most people will never notice so that our traffic signals help buses and trains stay on time. And special kudos to Metro for recently completing universal access improvements on bus stop number 2500, making them all fully ADA accessible. This milestone shows everyone, including the Federal Transit Administration, that Metro and the city are partners in Metro Next, a true long-term vision for transit for all. And while Metro, while Metro is making great strides, I am a little disappointed. No, I'm a lot disappointed to say that we haven't seen the progress I would have liked on the high-speed rail between Houston and Dallas. And hopefully, something will materialize as we move forward. That project truly would be transformational and would benefit Houston, Dallas, quite frankly, the entire state of Texas. And really would have placed Texas and this area on the map. So I'm disappointed. I was hoping that before I left office, that at least a shovel would have been somewhere, just a ribbon would have been somewhere. But I shall build my own bullet train and just move it on here from Houston to Dallas and call it a completion in case the next mayor comes along. But I am disappointed. But hopefully it can be revitalized. Back to good news. Let's talk about our bike network and all of our partners who are helping to build it out. In 2021, we added more than 40 more miles of high-comfort bikeways, with my thanks to Harris County Commissioners Rodney Ellis and to Commissioner Adrian Garcia, Houston Parks Board, Metro, TxDOT, HGAT, and our Tourism Management District. B-Cycle, Houston's bike share system, added 23 new stations and served 240,000 trips in 2021. And get ready, because there's 125 more miles of bikeways in planning, design, and construction right now. A network of over 500 miles of bikeways is coming very soon, and eventually gold-level bike-friendly status and a full bike network of 1,800 miles. We know that the condition of Houston streets can mean a bumpy ride. Sometimes it's difficult to drink a cup of coffee and drive on the road at the same time. And a bumpy ride for our car can be a perilous ride for our bikes. Our streets must be usable for everyone. And that's why last year alone, we overlaid nearly 250 miles of streets and filled nearly 75,000 bike holes. And almost 6.5 years later, we are assessing and addressing potholes more than 96% of the time by the next business day. But we know our roads need to be improved, and it goes beyond potholes. It goes beyond, in many cases, rehab. Sometimes they need to be fully reconstructed. The city's work on our roads is complemented by TxDOT's work on key parts of the highway network. The interchange of 610 and 69 is well known. It's where two major highways meet up and can be very difficult to drive. TxDOT is spending over $250 million to reconstruct this interchange, improving sight distances, vertical clearances, and more. We appreciate TxDOT uses smart work zone technologies to communicate project updates, help motorists find alternative routes, and clear incidents more quickly. And I wish this afternoon I could talk more than about 610 and 69. I wish I could bring you a more positive report on I-45. But we shall continue to pray. That's as far as I can go on that one. Our networks aren't perfect today. We have hundreds of intersections where streets and rail lines cross each other. Every train stop across our streets is more than an inconvenience or a potential safety hazard. By blocking access, it stops our upward mobility. The federal government acknowledges this is a bigger problem than any one city can address on their own. So we are pursuing funds from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act to separate rail crossings and add safety improvements. We have more than 700 of those crossings in the city of Houston alone. And for people on the East End, they're having to deal with it on a regular basis. And for EMS, and for our fire trucks and police vehicles, when trains stop, pretty much you're putting a lot of people in jeopardy. So this is an issue that we must address. The City of Houston's Office of Innovation is also piloting a technology project to better identify when crossings are blocked and help route people to open routes. Speaking of innovation, I'm hoping you have seen our interactive wayfinding kiosks, which are providing smart city infrastructure to enhance the pedestrian experience for Houstonians and our visitors, adding vibrancy to Houston's urban landscape and supporting our commercial districts. These kiosks are part of our transportation system and our mission to support our businesses. To meet Houston's economic and quality of life goals, we must also remember our climate goals. The transportation sector alone contributes nearly half of our city's greenhouse gas emissions, but not for long. We are transitioning our municipal fleet to electric vehicles, currently 415 in our fleet. We will couple that with the purchase of new electric vehicles, currently 161 are on order, with investments in electric charging infrastructure. We are working with Evolve Houston, a partnership between the City of Houston, University of Houston, Centerpoint, NRG, and Shell to advance and educate on the adoption of electric charging in our city. Houston is a destination city, but the point of our transportation system is not one single destination, and it will never reach an end point. There are a lot of things that are taking place in our city, and we are working every day to build a more complete transportation network. So transit, we will move forward on. Building bike lanes, we will move forward on. Creating a walkable, living, pedestrian city, we will move forward on. Even with respect to our highway construction, we will move forward on. And hopefully, when I give this last speech next year, hopefully there will be progress on I-45. Quite frankly, there is no reason why it should not be moving forward. If you're not having to redo the FEIS, and if you're not having to redo the record of decision, there is no reason for TxDOT or anyone else not to sign the MOU that I have put forward, where we're recognizing the need for housing, connectivity, not taking more than is required, working with Metro. There is no reason not to sign an MOU, but for the politics that's at stake. I hope, with all of you in this room, that you will encourage the stakeholders to move forward, sign the MOU, and let's get it done. It can be transformational if it's done in the right way. And the politics should never trump what's best for the people and businesses, not only in our city, but in our state. That would be a huge, huge mistake. It will continue, we will continue to evolve, and we will continue to connect people to jobs and to schools to support their upward mobility. And we will continue to do everything we can, not only to serve the 2.3 million Houstonians today that live within our city, but those who live within our region. And so 7 years ago, we talked about the paradigm shift. It's still happening. When many of us grew up in our city, it was just cars, trucks, and streets. We are a far different city than what existed 25 or 30 years ago. And if we're going to be competitive, not just with Dallas and Austin and San Antonio, and not just with New York or LA or Chicago, if we're going to be competitive globally, then we have to give the people who come here and the people who live here the things that will help to enhance their mobility and enhance their quality of life. We have the capability of doing that. Houston has never led from behind. There is no reason for us to do it now. So, 18 months to go before I wave goodbye. Quite frankly, I intend to be in my chair at 12 o'clock midnight with them pulling me out as I go along. But we'll work for 18 months all the way through. To all of the members here, from the city to the staff, the directors, city council members, what have you. 18 months. And it's our intent to work every single day to make sure that we're getting the results and building a complete transportation network. Now, at times, people may raise objections because we'll be doing something new. But the old should never trump what's best. And in our city, it's a new city, it's a new day, and we've got to do more than we've ever done before. A failure to do that will be a failure in building a city for the future. Thank you so very much and appreciate you.
Mayor, I did not eat your salad, I promise. Coffee cup, I would avoid that. Listen, thank you all for being here today. This is, we've been doing this for many years. We've been doing these type of events. It's our 10th year anniversary, so there's a lot that goes into TAG, a lot of work that happens behind the scenes, as well as these great, fabulous events. We're going to be doing an orientation for our new members soon. Look for that in your emails. We're going to do something with our mobility partners next month, so look for that. That's coming up. I wanted to, on our next big event, I'm going to invite a lot of our elected officials, our agency leaders together for a picture at the end of the event. So I'm just giving you a heads up now that next time when we come, we're going to do a group picture, because I think most people don't realize how much you interact with each other and how much you work together on so many projects. So many things get done at these events when we're walking in, walking out. And we understand that, we acknowledge that. That's why at our events you have an opportunity to network with each other. You all don't quiet down when we try to recognize all our sponsors, which sucks. And next time I want all of us to look at our sponsors and all the people that have supported. Thank you all for being here. It's been a great afternoon. Look forward to continuing seeing us through the summer and right into August and latter part of this year. We'll be announcing our events that are coming up. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor, for a fabulous event. I will not, everybody stay away from him. He wants to finish the salad. There's an entree that's coming up. Staff should be bringing up something up. Commissioner Cagle, are you lost? Where are you looking? Where are you? Wait. Anywhere you'd like to be. With that, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies. Look forward to seeing you again.